Good evening, dear listener. As the sun dips below the horizon and the world quiets into twilight, I invite you to nestle into your bed, pull up a soft cover, and let your eyelids grow heavy. Tonight, we'll drift together through the serene sands of time, exploring the gentle world of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and the daily temple inscriptions that whispered stories into stone. Imagine yourself lounging by the Nile's edge, the water lapping softly as we uncover forgotten details of everyday life in those sacred spaces. There's no hurry here, no startling revelations, just a calm tale to ease your mind into slumber. Breathe deeply, feel the tension melt away, and allow the words to flow over you like a warm desert wind. This is a story of patient scribes, peaceful rituals, and the quiet art of recording the ordinary. Let it carry you gently toward dreams. Now let's begin our peaceful journey back to the banks of the Nile, where the river's steady flow nourished one of the world's oldest civilizations. Ancient Egypt, stretching from around 3100 BCE to the time of the Greeks and Romans, was a land of harmony between people, gods, and nature. The Nile was its lifeblood, flooding annually with a soft predictability that brought fertile soil for crops and a sense of renewal. In this cradle, hieroglyphs emerged not as grand mysteries, but as a beautiful way to capture the everyday. These sacred writings, meaning holy carvings in Greek, were more than words. They were pictures blended with sounds, etched into temple walls, papyrus scrolls, and even simple tools. Imagine the soft rustle of palm leaves in the breeze as scribes, with their reed pens and ink palettes, sat in shaded courtyards, carefully forming symbols of birds, snakes, and eyes that told tales of daily offerings and quiet devotions. In the temples, those vast stone sanctuaries dedicated to gods like Amun, Isis, and Osiris, hieroglyphs adorned every surface, but not always with epic battles or pharaoh's triumphs. Often, they recorded the mundane rhythms of life, the daily inscriptions that kept the cosmic order, or ma'at, in balance. Priests and scribes would rise with the dawn's gentle light, their feet padding softly on cool stone floors, to inscribe the day's events. The bread baked for offerings, the incense burned in golden censers, the hymns sung in low, melodic tones. These weren't dramatic decrees. They were soothing repetitions, like a lullaby, ensuring the gods were pleased and the world turned smoothly. Forgotten now are the small customs, like how scribes mixed their inks from soot and gum, stirring slowly in clay pots, or how they practiced on ostraca, broken pottery shards, sketching falcons for the god Horus or lotuses symbolizing rebirth, all in a quiet pursuit of perfection. As the sun climbed higher, casting a warm glow over the temple pylons, the daily work began in earnest. Temples weren't just places of worship. They were bustling communities almost like small towns, where people lived, worked, and learned. Scribes, often from families of learned men, would gather in scriptoria, quiet rooms filled with the faint scent of papyrus and myrrh. Here they copied texts or composed new ones, their quills dipping into red and black inks, drawing hieroglyphs that flowed like the river itself. A typical inscription might note the delivery of linen cloths for the god's statue, woven by women in nearby villages, or the measurement of grain from the harvest, stored in silos that dotted the landscape like silent guardians. Picture the soft clink of measuring tools, the distant lowing of cattle being herded for sacrifice, not in violence, but as a peaceful gift to sustain the divine. These details, etched into walls, helped maintain the temple's economy, a gentle web of trade and tribute that kept everyone fed and clothed. Delving deeper into this calm world, consider the role of the gods in these inscriptions. Each temple was a home for a deity, and the daily rituals were like tending to a beloved family member. Priests would wash the god's statue with cool water scented with herbs, dress it in fresh linens, and offer meals of bread, beer, and fruits arranged on low tables. Hieroglyphs captured these acts, a symbol of an arm extended in offering, or a seated figure representing the pharaoh presenting gifts. These weren't intense ceremonies. They were rhythmic, like breathing, performed multiple times a day to the soft chants that echoed through colonnaded halls. Forgotten customs include the opening of the mouth ritual for statues, not a dramatic event, but a gentle touch with tools to awaken the figure, allowing it to receive offerings. Imagine the ambient sound of distant bells tinkling from anklets as attendants moved gracefully, or the crackle of a small fire where incense smoldered, filling the air with sweet, calming aromas. Scribes themselves led lives of quiet dedication. Trained from boyhood in houses of life, temple schools where lessons unfolded slowly under the guidance of elders, they learned over 700 hieroglyphs, each with phonetic, ideographic, or determinative meanings. A bird might mean great if it was the vulture for mother, or simply indicate flight. They practiced endlessly, copying moral tales or administrative lists, their hands moving with deliberate care. In daily temple life, inscriptions often included calendars of festivals, marking serene events like the Opet festival, where gods' statues were carried in processions along flower-strewn paths, the crowd's murmurs blending with the Nile's flow. These records ensured continuity, a soft thread connecting generations, with scribes adding personal touches like dedications to their patrons, whispered prayers carved in stone. As midday approached, the temple hummed with subdued activity. Artisans might repair walls, gently chiseling new hieroglyphs to replace weathered ones, using copper tools that glinted in the light. These inscriptions detailed inventories, bolts of cloth measured in cubits, jars of oil from olive presses, all noted with symbols of reeds for counting or owls for wisdom. Women, though less often scribes, contributed through weaving or baking, their work indirectly immortalized in the texts. Children played nearby, perhaps tracing simple signs in the sand, learning the art that would one day be theirs. The hieroglyphs themselves evolved softly over time, from early pictographs around 3200 BCE, simple drawings of animals and objects, to the more stylized forms in the Middle Kingdom, always adapting without rush, mirroring the Nile's meanders. Continuing our gentle drift, let's ponder the materials that made these inscriptions possible. Papyrus harvested from the river's marshes was stripped, pounded, and woven into sheets, a process as rhythmic as a heartbeat. Scribes smoothed them with stones, then wrote in columns from right to left, their script curling like vines. For temple walls, hieroglyphs were carved deeply, then painted in vibrant but fading colors, blue for the sky god, green for vegetation's renewal. These daily records included medical texts, softly advising remedies like honey for wounds or willow for aches, inscribed in temples dedicated to healing gods like Imhotep. Forgotten details abound. Scribes used determinatives to clarify meanings, like a rolled-up papyrus to indicate an abstract idea, preventing confusion in the quiet flow of reading. Temple life extended beyond walls into gardens where priests cultivated herbs and flowers for offerings. Inscriptions noted plantings, rows of lettuce for men, the fertility god, or mandrakes for love charms. Birds fluttered overhead, their forms echoed in the script, a quail chick for W, a horned viper for F. Evenings brought closure, with lamps of twisted wicks burning sesame oil, casting flickering shadows as scribes finalized the day's entries. These might include astronomical observations, tracking stars like Sirius, whose rising heralded the flood in a predictable, comforting cycle. Customs like dream interpretation were recorded too, with hieroglyphs describing visions as messages from the gods, interpreted over shared cups of herbal tea. As night fell, the temple settled into stillness, but the inscriptions lived on, guardians of memory. Priests performed night rituals, offering milk to the stars, their actions etched for posterity. Hieroglyphs on coffins and tombs extended this, but in temples they focused on the living cycle. Births registered, marriages noted, all in a web of community. The script's beauty lay in its versatility, cursive hieratic for quick notes, formal hieroglyphs for eternity. Scribes held high status, their palettes buried with them, symbols of their craft's quiet honor. Flowing onward, imagine the broader context of these daily inscriptions. Temples like Karnak or Luxor were vast complexes with hypostyle halls supported by columns like forests of stone papyrus. Each surface a canvas for hieroglyphs. These told of pharaohs' deeds, but softly interwoven with everyday dedications. A baker offering loaves, a fisherman netting perch for the altar. Customs included purification rites where priests bathed in sacred lakes, the water's ripple the only sound. Forgotten are the libraries within temples, rooms stacked with scrolls on agriculture, law, and poetry, all in hieroglyphic splendor. Scribes' tools were simple treasures: a wooden palette with wells for ink, a water pot shaped like a monkey, reed pens sharpened with knives. They wrote spells for protection, gentle incantations against illness, carved on amulets worn by all. In daily life, hieroglyphs appeared on jewelry, seals, and even bread molds, imprinting blessings. The calendar, based on the Nile's floods, was inscribed yearly, marking seasons of inundation, growth, and harvest, a cycle as soothing as waves. As we meander through history, note how hieroglyphs persisted through dynasties. In the Old Kingdom, they adorned pyramids' inner chambers with pyramid texts, soft guides for the afterlife. By the New Kingdom, they flourished in temples like Abu Simbel, where Ramses II's inscriptions blended royal praise with daily offerings. Women scribes, though rare, existed. Like the Lady Pesachet, an overseer of physicians, her title etched in stone. Deeper still, the art of inscription was meditative. Scribes sat for hours, their posture erect but relaxed, breathing in time with each stroke. Errors were rare, corrected with gentle overpainting. Temples hosted schools where boys memorized signs through repetition, chanting softly like a mantra. Customs like the beautiful festival of the valley saw families visiting ancestors' tombs, leaving inscribed offerings of flowers and food. Materials evolved softly, from early ivory tags labeling goods to later demotic script for everyday use. Hieroglyphs remained for sacred texts, their pictorial nature evoking the world's essence: a man with raised arms for joy, a scarab for transformation. Ambient sounds and imagination, the soft wind through sycamore trees, the crackle of a hearth where scribes warmed their inks on cool mornings. Temple economy inscriptions detailed trade: cedar from Lebanon for boats, gold from Nubia for statues, all noted with symbols of ships and ingots. Priests managed these, ensuring fair distribution, a system of quiet equity. As our tale unwinds, consider personal stories hidden in inscriptions. A scribe named Hori might dedicate a stela to his family, hieroglyphs praising their support. Love poems, though on papyrus, echoed temple themes of eternal bonds. Daily health customs, inscriptions on medical papyri, describe birthing chairs or herbal brews, all under God's watchful eyes. Festivals brought communal joy, inscribed as processions with music from harps and sistra, soft rhythms filling the air. Children participated, carrying garlands, their laughter muted in the sacred space. The decline came gradually as Greek and Roman influences blended in, but hieroglyphs lingered until the 4th century CE, last inscribed at Philae Temple. Their knowledge faded like a sunset, rediscovered centuries later by scholars like Champollion, using the Rosetta Stone's parallel texts. In this fading light, forgotten details emerge. Hieroglyphs for colors, black for fertile soil, white for purity, or numbers, with coils of rope for hundreds. Scribes' humor peeked through in marginal notes, like doodles of animals. Temple animals, sacred to gods, were mummified and inscribed with prayers. Cats for Bastet, ibises for Thoth. The knowledge god often depicted as a scribe. As the story slows, feel the Nile's current carrying us. These inscriptions, though silent now, speak of a world in balance, where daily acts were sacred.